Hello guys, welcome to your Valentine's Day date night. We are Ballroom Feed. I'm Lindsay, this is Chris, and we're going to be instructors today. We're going to teach you a romantic dance, a romantic slow dance that is called Foxy, okay? So we're going to teach you step by step. We're going to put it in a little combination to you. We're going to move our bodies. We're going to connect with each other. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to learn how to dance a little bit, okay? So we'll get started. We're just going to do a little warm up, and we're going to show you how to kind of hold each other.
So what I'm going to do first as the leader is I'm going to take my left hand to her right hand here, and you're going to notice we're not going to interlock our hands at all. You can kind of see on both sides. So our fingers are together all the way, just like this, and we can keep it pretty casual. We're just kind of slow dancing today, and we're dancing in our kitchen at this point. It'll be pretty small, so we can kind of drop our elbow and be pretty casual here, but we're just not going to interlock the fingers at all. And you can see on the other side here, my right hand's going to go on just on her lower back here, and her left hand's going to go just in the front. You could go around the back if you wanted to as more like a hug. We wouldn't totally suggest going over the top, because when it comes to, we're going to learn a few different dance steps and patterns here, and we're going to have to lead and follow each other a little bit. It makes it really difficult for her to follow me if her hand's kind of over the back, because I might start to kind of bump into her. Where if, let's say you guys are really new, and this is kind of the first time dancing together, we would definitely recommend putting the hand more in the front of the shoulder, where like her thumb and pointer finger go right in the front of the shoulder. And even though the elbows can be down and casual, she'll feel if I go and walk into her, and now she can follow and kind of read me so much easier. So this is how we'd recommend to definitely start connecting, and you can see we're pretty relaxed. The only other thing here now is that we stand a little bit offset of each other. So our right foot is in between our partner's feet. So you can see my left foot pretty clearly here because I'm a little bit to the left. Now again, we're slow dancing, we're intimate dancing, so we can look at each other as much as we want. We just gotta make sure we're kind of aware that we're a little bit offset. So when it comes time to walking into each other, we dance on separate tracks the entire time. Instead of dancing right in front of one another, we're much more likely to step on each other's feet as we kind of go forward and backwards.
And bump each other's knees, which is never that romantic. So now that we've got that, let's practice just swaying back and forth, because that's going to be part of the Foxy dance, okay? So what we're going to do is ladies are going to start with their weight on their left, fellas on the right, and then we're going to step out to the side together, okay? So we're going to step out to the side, and the size of the step should just be comfortable underneath your shoulders. So nothing too small, nothing too wide that it feels like a reach. So whatever feels comfortable, and we're going to shift our weight from foot to foot, and we want to move together, so we're mirroring each other, okay? So I want you to think like you're at a concert, how you'd sway to some slow songs that you like with a lighter or cell phone, and just kind of feel how you're moving with your partner. So it should feel pretty natural. We've all done this in real life for sure. However, we want to make sure that our knees are staying soft. So if our legs are kind of locked out, they can get kind of robotic and uncomfortable. So our knees are going to stay nice and flexible, and we want to make sure that we're not doing anything funky like this with our upper body, or anything funky with the hips like this lower body. So you'll see naturally we're probably, especially maybe for the ladies, we have a natural swing in our hips possibly when we shift from foot to foot, but I'm definitely not just going like this with my hips. I'm not breaking the hips in the body. You can see this doesn't really look that attractive, and it feels kind of funny too. So what I want to try to do is move my entire spine from foot to foot and not isolate anything too much. Naturally your body might move in certain ways, that's okay, but we just want to make it feel and look the most comfortable that we can and match our partner.
You want to think about putting your shoulders over your hips, and that the shoulders and the hips both move together the entire time. She explained it perfectly, that nothing is going to swing independently from each other, that my shoulders and my hips, they move at the exact same times. Now this is kind of funny to learn how to sway, right? But in terms of dancing together and looking and feeling comfortable, we want to feel like we're balanced the entire time, right? So if we do this together a few times, you can see us here. I'm just going to move my body as a whole to the side, and we're very aligned, just shifting our spine over each foot. And you can see if I swing my hips or move my shoulders, it's very hard for her to follow me, and we look very off center, right? So you together here now, you're gonna take this very casual dance hold we have here. This is probably a better angle. I'm a little bit offset, that if we were to look straight forward, I would actually see over her right shoulder. She would see over mine, but we're still gonna look and dance together here, right? So we have this little casual dance position. And I'm going to lead the beginning of this. We're going to talk a little bit about leading and following, kind of getting more comfortable together. So my hands around the back here. I'm going to think about moving myself to the side, moving myself My right arm catches on her back, and now we're in this sway, and I can go as slow as I want, or I can start to speed up a little bit if I want to. Kind of depends on how fast your music is, right? We'll dance to some music in a little bit, but get used to kind of leading and following each other. This is supposed to be intimate and romantic, right? So we want to feel one another. We want to feel how slow I go in this sway, or if I start to speed up a little bit. And the key is, if you're thinking about leading and following, I'm moving myself. I'm not trying to move her back and forth, because now I'm pushing and pulling and she doesn't like that. I'm moving myself back and forth each time. And we get used to feeling one another, and then as we get into some music, we can sync up with that as well.
So what we'll do before we actually start going into the dance is we're actually gonna start with the music with 4 sways back and forth. So we're gonna come back to this, but I think we're ready to get into our first Foxy dance step, which in this case is called the Cradle. We have it up on our site as well, but we're gonna go through it step by step together today, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with Chris. He's gonna learn, or he's gonna teach the leader steps. I'll be doing it with him, because why not? And then we're gonna flip it, and then I'll teach the follower steps, okay? So if you're the leader, get ready, we're gonna do this. Followers, you can always learn it for fun, but we're gonna be doing the natural opposite, so let's get started.
So it's very, very simple. This is like the upgrade to swaying back and forth, that now we start to move a little bit around the floor. Not too crazy, it still stays stationary. So like we started the sways with my left foot first, instead of swaying right away first, I'm gonna go take 1 step forward on my left foot. And this is just a very small, casual walking step. I still go forward like on a heel, like you would walk down the street normally. I'm not lunging or taking any goofy kind of step. This is supposed to be casual and easy. I go forward on my left foot. So now I'm gonna go do the sway. I'm gonna go right, left. So far I did just a forward, sway, sway, right? I went forward and then to my right, sway, back to my left foot, sway. And now I'm gonna go backwards on my right foot, just 1 easy walking step back. My right foot, side sway, sway. That is it. That is the entire basic to this pattern here. I'm going forward, right sway, back, left sway, right sway. It's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I can do this over and over again. And now our basic swaying in place starts to move a little bit in each direction. And this gives us a chance to add some more interesting patterns to this. We're just coming from a sway the entire time. Doesn't really move us around and doesn't really give us many options to do fun things off of it.
Okay, so fellas, if you got that, practice it. Ladies, we're gonna do your steps, and if you're having trouble, you can always pause this video and rewind as much as you need, okay? So, ladies, we're doing the natural opposite. So we're gonna start with the right foot this time, and we're gonna take 1 step backwards on the right, and then we're gonna go out and sway to our left, sway to our right. Now we should have our left foot free, and we're gonna take 1 step forward left, sway to our right, sway to our left, and we're gonna repeat that. So we go back, sway, sway, forward, sway, sway. We're always switching our weight. So if I start on my right foot, I need to use my left, and of course the natural opposite. And we're taking 6 steps in this basic, okay? So now let's count the number of steps. We're gonna start together. In case we got lost, we're starting on the right foot back. Ready? And we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay.
Excuse me, sorry. So leaders, you'll notice that you're doing the exact same thing as the follower is. We just start at different places in the basics. So if you want to practice it too, it's the same exact, we do the same exact thing. It's just I start on the forward half of it and she starts on the back half of it. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. Okay, take a second if you need to practice that, but we're actually gonna ask you guys to take dance position and we're gonna try this step together, okay? So grab your partner. You can try it first in practice hold, which means that I'm just gonna, I'm gonna grab his hands on top and we're gonna stay here just in case we step on each other or we mess up right in the beginning. You can start there or you can jump right away into dance position if you feel like it. Totally fine. We're gonna start together. I'll say ready and we're all gonna go together on 1. Fellas, you're starting forward on your left, ladies back on your right. Ready and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. How did we do? Probably pretty well, right?
If you're not, you can always pause and go back and kind of go slowly with us. What we should do next is graduate now to this. We'll get a little bit closer together. Now, sometimes when we do this in a full, like casual hold, we're really close together, which is a high risk of stepping on each other. So we'll kind of ease our way into it, and we'll try this other kind of, it's kind of funny at the beginning, but it's a little more structured practice hold, right? The holding hands gives us the most distance, so we can practice this and have no risk of stepping on each other. But if this was easy for you, we're gonna go on to the next step, and she's gonna place her forearms just on top of mine. So my palms are facing up and her palms are facing down, and I have a little bit more control at this point, and we're just a little bit closer together. And we can do the same thing again if we're ready, right? We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just a walk, sway, sway, walk, sway, sway. We have plenty of space here. We're still to the left of each other, walking straight forward. Very small and casual, but these are still real walking steps. I don't want to take a step that's really too small, because then she gets kind of confused and hesitates a little bit. So I want to take a real step forward towards her. She'll take a real step forward towards me. We can do this a bunch of times to kind of get more comfortable.
All right, guys, let's graduate, if you haven't yet, to our full dance position. We're gonna try this a few times with counts, and then we're gonna put some music on and we're gonna move together to the music. Just with this, enjoy it, connect with your partner, have fun. All right, guys, we're gonna try it to music. I'm gonna count us in. Ready? 5, 6, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On your own. Continue, enjoy it. Let's finish one more. Awesome. Cool. Very good. That is your Foxy Cradle. So now you've probably noticed we're just staying in one spot. We haven't rotated or turned around, so I think what would be fun if we learned how to rotate a little bit.
All right, so we're gonna learn how to rotate this now. I'm gonna go forward on the left foot, and we're gonna do this at the same time together here. We're just both gonna start going forward on the left foot, just so we can kind of get into this cradle, right?
So we're doing what the leader is doing right now.
How the leader starts, right? Even though we both do the same thing. So we're both gonna go forward on the left foot, forward, sway, sway, right? So what's gonna happen on how we're gonna rotate this is I can rotate to my left every time I go forward or I go backwards. So now as I go forward on my left foot, I'm just gonna turn a little bit to my left. It can be like 1/8 of a turn. It can be all the way up to 1/4 of a turn. But I'm just gonna rotate a little bit to my left as I go forward, and then I still go sway, sway. Now when I go backwards on my right foot, I continue rotating a little bit to my left, back, sway, sway. So you can see if I were to continue this, if we were to continue this, we would keep rotating around to our left the entire time, right? We'd probably suggest doing like 1/8 of a turn each time right now, because it's very slight and you kind of get used to it, right? So we just do this by ourselves here. We're just gonna rotate like 1/8 of a turn every time we go forward or backwards. So we're gonna go ready and forward, sway, sway, back, sway, sway, forward, sway, sway, back, sway, sway. Good, we'll do a few more and kind of get all the way around. Just rotating a little bit each time. You can kind of look in the direction you're going to help you out a little bit. And the steps don't really change too much. The reason we're doing this by ourselves first is because I have to lead this, but if I can't do it by myself and turn in a circle, there's no way I can do it with her at the same time, right? So sorry, go ahead.
So ladies, we can try this as a follower just for fun, but when we're dancing together, I actually recommend that you don't try to think about the rotation too much, because we do need, for it to be successful, have one leader and one follower. Today, I'm the follower, so if you're following whatever role that is, you need to make sure that we're following our leader's rotation, but let's try it just for fun to get used to it on our own before that. So ladies, we can try this, and leaders, this is gonna be the same thing, just the natural opposite, so you could try it as well. Okay, so we're gonna start back on the right foot, and we're gonna do the same idea. So when we take the step back, instead of stepping straight backwards, what I'm gonna do is just slightly rotate towards my left. So we're facing away from the camera, so it'd be the same way as you guys, okay? So let's all try that together, and now I'll go continuously, starting in the right foot. Here we go. We rotate, sway, sway, rotate, sway, sway, rotate, sway. Sway, just tiny little rotations on each forward and back step. For now, we're just practicing with 1/8 of a turn approximately. But with a partner, it might feel a little bit different than what we're doing. That's okay. And we've made it around. Okay, now that we've practiced, we want to now try this together as a partnership. So as I was saying before, we actually don't want to think about the rotation. So ladies, what I want you to think about is your foot direction. So for example, if we just did our normal cradle, I'm going back, sway, sway, forward, sway, sway. So if he starts to rotate this, I'm not thinking about the rotation, I'm thinking about my direction. So I'm still thinking back, sway, sway, forward, sway, sway. That way I don't start to take any side steps when I should be taking backwards or forward steps because I'm a little confused of where we are because we're changing direction. So it's very helpful just to be mindful of that and think about your foot direction and allow him to kind of lead you through it.
What I'm thinking about when leading this is I'm really just thinking about rotating myself the entire time. I don't want to push and pull and move her around because it's very uncomfortable to follow that way. I myself, which way I have this like practice hold here first, is I'm going to rotate and turn myself. If you want to look to the left the first few times, it kind of helps as you rotate. And I'm just moving myself around and she's going to follow and keep up with me. It'd be really weird if you were to turn and release your hands from your body and then lose her, right? So I keep my hands and my elbows in front of my body the entire time, and my arms, my shoulders, everything turns at the same time together, and then she's able to come with me. You guys are welcome to try this in the dance hold, which we're going to do in a second now. This is just a great way to practice it and kind of get used to how much or how little you want to rotate every single time. And now you can see this dance has a lot more volume to it, and it's much more interesting to watch and to dance instead of just swaying in place. We've upgraded so far from just swaying in place to moving forward and backwards and swaying, and now we're going to rotate this, and we keep kind of adding these layers to the dance.
Okay, so now let's all try this in dance position. If we haven't, you're welcome to try it in one of the practice holds if you want, but we'll try it together with some counts. Let's start together. 5, 6, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Awesome. Hopefully that went okay. Again, try on your own if you need to. Maybe grab a glass of wine or something like that if you're of age and enjoy each other's company, okay? Let's try this now to a bit of music. I'll count you in again, and then at the end I'll stop kind of counting so you can just enjoy the music. All right, ready? Leaders on the left, followers right. 5, 6, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Enjoy. Awesome, you guys. Really good. So now that we've done the cradle with rotation and not rotation, let's try something a little bit more exciting, okay? So we're gonna learn our first turn. So let's go through that. We'll demonstrate it for you first so you can kind of have an idea of what you'll be learning. So this is called the cradle walk around turn. We're gonna go through it and just kind of show you first.
If you want more practice with the other stuff, you can pause the video, play some music, and we'll have a playlist that we'll link in the description below where you can actually find some good music that works to this dance, and you guys can practice a little bit more before moving on to the next thing.
Awesome. Okay, let's demonstrate this for you guys. So we're starting with that regular cradle. I'm gonna walk around. He's gonna cut me off, and then we're gonna start and finish with the same kind of stuff that we learned, so not too crazy. I guess we'll start with the leader's footwork first. I'll be demonstrating it with him as well, and then we'll flip it around.
So we have very different footwork now, obviously, but before we just kind of did the same thing at different times. Now we have our own stuff to do. So our first turn, this is a big step. This is gonna be a lot of fun. All right, the leader's footwork to this walk around turn. So what's gonna happen here is not too much different, actually. You have all the ingredients already to do this. I do 2 of these cradle basics like we already know. The first one is straight and the second one rotates to the left. So this entire pattern is just 2 basics. The first one is straight, completely as normal, nothing has changed. Now when I go into my second one, I do want to rotate to the left a little bit, and then sway, sway. And when I go backwards, it's straight, back, sway, sway. So you can see I ended up here about a quarter of a turn to the left. So how I did that, this is my second basic, I took this step forward and kind of towards like a diagonal, to about 1/8 of a turn. And then when I went for my sway, sway, I kept reaching myself around here to end up on this quarter of a turn to the left. This is where I go meet her in the turn, and I go straight back, my right foot, sway, sway, with no rotation. So this is 2 basics, 12 steps in total. Looks like this. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I definitely want to practice on my own first. If I can't do it by myself, definitely not going to happen together.
Okay, ladies, let's go over your footwork, and then we're gonna go over like all the leading and stuff like that, how that happens after that. So let's do that. Chris will also be demonstrating with us. So we're gonna start back on the right foot, and we're gonna do the back half, or the first half of that basic step that we did in the beginning, the cradle. From here, I'm gonna start a series of forward curving walks. So let's demonstrate that together. It's gonna go forward straight towards my partner, then curving 1, 2, 3, and the last one is going to be a sway, sway, turning to face my partner once more, and then the second half of my basic cradle. Okay, so let's do that step by step a little bit slower. So we have my right foot going back, and I do a sway, sway, left foot forward towards my partner, right foot forward, curving, left foot, right foot. This last part here, I'm going to take a side step out and turn another quarter to face my partner, sway, sway. I should have my left foot free now to go forward towards my partner, and then a finishing sway, sway, ending up with my weight on my left foot, so I should have that right foot free to go back into my basic step again, okay? So let's do this again. We're gonna do it in sections, okay? So we're gonna start out with our back half of our cradle. We go 1, 2, 3. From here, we're walking forward 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're gonna do a sway, 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 and then a step, sway, sway to finish. All right, let's do this with a little bit of timing now together. Don't worry if you're not getting it.
I'll do the leader's footwork if she does the followers, so you guys can practice their individual steps.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna do it with the counts, nice and slow. Ready, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. So I just broke up the turning section to 6 counts in between so we can separate it a little bit easier. I know this is a lot more challenging than the first one, so let's try this together a few more times, just that. Nice and slow, ladies. Fellas, definitely practice. 5, 6, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Let's try one more time, and then we're gonna try it together, okay?
You'll notice one thing I'm doing here, which you can practice on your own first, is I'm gonna lift up my left hand as I go backwards on my first step. So I went forward, sway, sway, and as I go backwards here on my right foot, this is when I lead the turn and I pick up my left hand. I'm mentioning this now because I want you to try it by yourself one time before we do this together, that when I go backwards, you're gonna see me lift this hand, which is leading the turn for her to walk underneath me, and then I go meet her afterwards. So we'll try it just as we did before.
Okay, let's do it all together with counts separate, but at the same time, okay? 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Fabulous. All right, guys, let's try this together as Chris was saying with the hand. We'll kind of go through it, but let's demonstrate it once more. Now that you've seen the steps, you can see what's happening here.
Okay, we'll go from this side here. We'll do it from each perspective.
Sure.
So I'm gonna go 1, 2, I'm gonna pause here on 3. As I step backwards on my right foot here, my left hand goes straight up in the air and my right hand drops to give it some space. My left hand goes straight up over her head and it opens up so it's nice and light. And then I continue with the footwork as she walks underneath, and then we both go forward to meet each other and we get to finish the basic here. What I want to do one time is I'm going to pause every 3 steps we take so we can kind of see what position we're in, and we'll kind of keep going. So every 3 steps we take, we're going to take a pause and make sure we're both in the same place. So we're going to go 1, 2, pause. As I go backwards here, this hand lifts, and we're going to take 3 more steps. 1, 2, pause. As you can see at this point here, my hand's super light. She just got past me. We're both going to go forward here on our inside foot towards each other. We're both going forward and then rotating to see each other. Sway, sway, and here's where we meet up now back in dance position. And then we get to end it 1, 2, 3.
Let's do it from a different direction so the followers can do it with me. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. All right, let's try that one more time. One more time. And make sure when you're taking this first step forward that you're not trying to cut him off and kind of go through already. We want to make that first step forward exactly like our cradle, and then on the second forward step is when we'll actually be passing him. That way you don't get too far away and you don't get too far away this way, okay? Let's try that again with that in mind. 5, 6, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Cool. So what we can do for fun if we want to while we're practicing is we can put our arm out to the side, or you can grab your skirt or put the hand on the hip while you're kind of doing this walk around turn for the ladies. Chris, do you have anything that the guys could do if they wanted to?
We're dancing really casual right now, really slow dancing, so I don't have to do anything unless you want to perform a little bit. You can put the hand on the hip, or you can put it out to the side if you want to, kind of present her a little bit more.
Of course, these are only options. We're just having fun, but in case you wanted to, go for it. Why not? We're having dance lesson today. So in that case, what I want to do for the ladies is we're on with each other in the beginning, so if we demonstrate what's going to happen here. As I step forward, I need to make sure that I don't already put out the arm just because my partner's here. So just keep the arm down for now, and then as I walk through, I have the option to lift my free arm, and then I keep it here, and it goes right back into dance position at the end. So that's kind of the easiest and just prettiest option. If you don't have space, hand on the hip is a good option. Or just making it a little bit out to do something without just kind of have it hanging down, but do whatever makes you happy today. It's your class.
You can see as we're doing this, we actually are using a slightly bigger frame, giving ourselves some more space, and as we get more comfortable, we can make everything smaller again. So kind of subconsciously here, we both kind of picked up our elbows a little bit, and it made our dance position or our frame a little bit more formal, a little bit bigger, just because it made this pattern easier to lead and follow at the very beginning. So we could try this again with that in mind, that our frame got bigger so we had more space for her to go walk underneath. We'd probably recommend trying that first as you get more comfortable. And as we get more comfortable, we can now get back to this really, really small, casual feeling. And now we're very successful.
One more tip I want to give for the ladies, just in case you're having problems with getting too far away from your partner or something like this. One thing that we can always do is find our partner. So while we're turning, what I do, obviously I'm going to look away from my partner here, but I can look for him, and that usually keeps me in the space that I want to be in, which means I'm not going to get too far away. If I look off here, I might get a little carried away, and then I might walk away too far, which makes it a little uncomfortable for him to lead. And I also want to make sure that I'm not turning around too fast, and I'm here, and I kind of cut him off. So I just want to make sure that I'm taking walking, curving steps through. That way we're successful and we meet up together at the end. Okay, any more tips?
I think it sounds pretty good. It's as long as the leader goes and walks forward. So I pick up the hand and I feel like I'm getting out of the way. I don't even turn her at all. And then I walk forward and then go meet her. And I give her space and it's very comfortable. The two things that usually happen that make this, pattern uncomfortable is some guys will pick up the hand and they'll start to turn her already. And as you can see, it already throws her off. I'm not actually turning her at all. I'm just opening the door for her to walk through, and which makes it look casual because it is. I'm not really doing too much. I'm simply gonna pick this hand up and let her walk underneath and through, and I meet her after it's done again. And then you can see again, there's no rush for me to get back to her. I'm gonna finish my back, sway, sway, and then I go forward and then go meet her, and we line up perfectly. Instead of sometimes me crowding her space a little bit, like me forgetting to do the sway and then kind of walking forward right away, and then I get in the way. Now, it's probably going to happen if you're really new to this the first time is you're probably, as the leader, going to forget to continue moving your feet and do the sways.
Very normal.
That I'm going to go lift up my hand and lead the turn, and I'm going to look at her and go, wow, you look really good. And I'm going, oh, I forgot to move my feet, and then have to go catch up again. So the first few times, the hand goes straight up, and keep thinking about your own feet moving consistently the entire time, and I promise it'll work out better than having a moment of freeze where you just kind of stand there and watch and then go try to catch up again at the end.
So that actually brings up a good point. If leaders, if you're having a really hard time doing two things at once right in the beginning, your own footwork and leading her, if she feels good, she can always just go underneath your arm and kind of help you there. But again, we do want to encourage leading and following, which means that we would love for the leader to be able to lead it, but I understand in the beginning it can be kind of tough learning two things at one time. So you can help each other, but just be like on the same page. Don't get upset at each other if you're not getting it right away. It's gonna happen, just a little more practice.
Yeah, if you're struggling, the more space, the easier this gets. So if we keep stepping on each other and we're having trouble, a lot of space is good here, and then we definitely won't step on each other, and she can maybe even lead herself to kind of help you in the timing, which is totally fine. It's a lot to do at the same time.
So we're gonna try this pattern to music now. We're gonna go continually straight through, back to back each time, which means we're gonna rotate a little bit each time. But if you wanna pause it and kind of just practice it slowly again, you can totally do that. And we're gonna connect it to the other patterns after this, okay? So let's try that together. With the music, 5, 6, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Again. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. One more time. All right, you guys. Very good job. That can be tricky starting off right away, but now I think it'll be fun if we kind of connect it to the first pattern that we learned. That way you can kind of get a breath in between. So Chris, why don't you walk us through that?
So far our options are a normal, straight basic, a rotating basic, and then this walk around turn. So these are all puzzle pieces that I can put together any way I want as long as I do them in their entirety. So what I mean is, if we start this dance, and let's say we were to, like Lynn said earlier, start with like a few sways, and just kind of get comfortable here, right? Whenever my left foot is free, I can then walk forward and go into this basic. So if I do any even number of sways, let's say we do 4 like she suggested. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can now start my basic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now what we recommend is when I'm back to the beginning and my left foot is free, then I can go and rotate it a little bit if I want to. And now I'm going to continuously rotate it, right? And now if I want to do that walk, I can do as many of these as I want. There is no certain number I have to do, as long as every time I do one, I complete it in its entirety. Now what I'm waiting for is when I go to walk backwards on my right foot, that's when I have the opportunity to lead this turn. So as I walk backwards here, I pick up my hand to lead the turn. I meet her again. I walk backwards to finish that pattern, and you notice I'm back again with my left foot free. As long as my left foot is free after doing those 2 sways, I can then do any of the basic rotating or turn. We just did the turn. I can always go back to just straight basics again if you're kind of getting lost. If you're actually getting lost and you get confused, you can just come back to just swaying again. We can kind of get on the same page. Let's say, for example, we try the walk around turn. We get messed up at the end, like I stop moving my feet and we kind of come back together and we're a little lost. We can just go back to some sways. When in doubt, sway it out.
We love that. So I think that is a great option to do if you're a little more advanced with the leading and following, but why don't we do this for them? We're gonna create just a little combination that you can try right along with us, step by step, and then at the end, or now, if you're feeling like that's what is gonna do the best job for you today, you can try organically leading and following all these things, but we'll give you a little combo before that. So I think what we can do is just try to keep it really simple, and we're gonna start with just one of those basic cradles, okay? So we're gonna start together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From here, we're just gonna do 1 underarm turns. We'll go together. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. And then what we can do is rotate this cradle maybe just 6 steps even, and just kind of keep it easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So no matter how much you rotated each time, you maybe just rotated a total of a quarter. He did a half turn because he did a quarter each time. It doesn't really matter, but just keeping it in kind of 6 counts besides the underarm turn, obviously, because that's 12 steps in total, but just keeping it really simple. And then after that, you can just repeat and repeat and repeat. Or you could add always extra basics in between if you're having trouble remembering what to do next, totally fine. But let's try that together. We'll try it maybe twice through. Doesn't matter what happens. And then we'll try that same idea with music. You can always pause if you get lost, sway like he said. And let's start with those 4 sways all together, just so we are all on the same page. I think that's good. Cool.
Once we're into the dance, we'll kind of just continue through. We'll just start the dance with those 4 sways. And this will do a straight basic, walk around turn, curving basic, and we'll come back to the beginning with the straight basic, walk around turn, curving basic.
Cool. Chris, count us in.
So we'll start from there so you can kind of see us better, right? So we're gonna do these 4 sways first. Ready? And we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll go straight basic. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Walk around turn. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Curving basic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I do a straight basic again because I'm back to the beginning. 5, 6. Walk around turn. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Curving basic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if at any point in time you get lost, you can always come back to just swaying over and over again.
Okay, so what we'll do now is we're gonna put the music on. Chris and I are gonna try to stick to this routine that we just gave you, but we might veer off a little bit at the end here and there. We're gonna give you a little bit extra time just to kind of practice with the music. We'll be dancing. You can do the same thing as us, follow along, or feel free to just go at your own pace, maybe do more basics, maybe just practice that underarm turn to music. That's totally fine. This is your class, do what's gonna make the best for you, but that's what we're gonna do. So we'll try with music.
Yeah, we'll do the routine like we just did. We'll do it twice in a row, and then after that, we'll leave the music on, and we'll just kind of do whatever we want. We can do, because you can do any of these patterns as many times as you want. It does not matter. We're just giving you the routine to practice, and then you'll see we're just gonna go into it randomly, just like we would slow dance together naturally.
Yeah, and go at your own pace. Just do what is best for you guys.
Cool.
All right, we'll get the music on. Leader's left foot. We're gonna start with those 4 sways, remember, okay? And ladies' right foot. 5, 6, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, beginning, and try with the music. That was a little bonus because we're going there next, if you guys were watching. All right, guys, nice work. That's a lot of new stuff going on. So if this is your first dance class ever, wow, congratulations. And also if it's not, still a very big accomplishment as well.
We're officially slow dancing. That's what it means. This is already a huge upgrade for a lot of people where I would say 99% of the population is used to just swaying in place. And that's all you ever do. Where what we did right here in this however long a time it took was very, very simple. We just rotated it and moved a little bit, and now we look so much more dynamic, and we look like, you know, this isn't crazy stuff because we just broke it down right here, but we look like dancers at this point, right?
Yeah, and you feel like you're kind of doing something a little more exciting than your average Joe Schmo on the dance floor, which is kind of cool. And the best part about this time right now is you can do this in your kitchen, which is why we designed it to kind of fit in a small space.
Super small.
Yeah, this is literally in our kitchen, so we're with you guys. So now what we can do is, I know that if you saw that dip, you're probably dying to try it. So why don't we teach you how to do a simple dip, and then we'll also teach you a simple way to get into the dip from this Foxy dance, okay? So we'll set you up. Chris will kind of go through what he does, and then I'll go through what I do, but we'll do it together.
So we'd recommend is starting with just the sways that we did here. So let's say we did a cradle or something, right? What I'm doing is I'm coming from swaying. I could go right from the sway from the cradle. I could do bonus sways if I wanted to. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to now place her hand over my shoulder. This is the first step. This is kind of like this is the lead. I'm saying I'm going to dip you by putting the hand here, right? Not that I couldn't dip her like this, but I don't have as much support with her, and this hand gets kind of wonky. And it's a very clear lead, which is nice. So as we shift my weight to my right foot, she's on her left foot, I place her hand over my shoulder so I can now put my left hand on her shoulder blade here on the back. Now what's going to happen is I have two soft knees. I don't want to be too stiff about it, right? As we shift over to this foot, I am now going to rotate myself. And this is probably the most important part. I'm not trying to throw her down and push her into this dip. I'm simply between my feet and I'm turning myself about 1/8 of a turn, maybe 1/4 of a turn to the left, right? So I'm soft to my knees here and I rotate to start opening up. And you can see here already, this dip's starting to take shape. Now she'll talk about her stuff in just a second. And then what's going to happen is if I want to go lower into this dip, I'm now going to bend my knees a little bit as I start to let her go here, right? I can bend just my left knee and lunge into my left knee. You might even find sometimes I just bend both knees and kind of squat here as she goes to do this dip and come back up again. The most important part is I'm supporting her mostly with my right hand around her back, not really my left hand. So if you feel confident here and you put this hand over the back, when I rotate, it's really my right hand that has her as I'm going into this dip, not my left hand.
All right, so first things first, we want to make sure that we're offset to the left if we weren't for some reason, very important. So he leads this section here, so he's throwing the hand above. Our other hand should already be wrapped around or just resting on his arm. So we're in a good place to start. So when he starts to rotate us, we want to make sure that we're rotating as well. So we don't want to keep our feet kind of where they are, and then he's going to rotate our upper body. We need to make sure that we're getting the lead, we're rotating all the way. So you can see now that my whole body, so before we go into the dip, sorry, my whole body is rotated 1/4 to my left, okay? So he's going to pretty much help me do the top half, but the bottom half should go as well. That way it's not uncomfortable or not as pretty. So once we're here, it's very important that we don't just throw ourselves backward, okay? So what I want to try to do, especially when we're practicing in the beginning, is play it super safe. So if we just go away from Chris for 1 sec so we can just see, when I'm bending my leg, I'm trying not to just go backwards like this. I'm trying to bend like a squat almost, where I'm still on my supporting leg, which in this case is my right foot. And as I do this for now, I'm just gonna slide out my other foot on the floor. So I still have contact, that way I don't throw off my weight too much if we don't have a lot of practice doing this sort of thing. So we're keeping on the floor to stay safe. I'm bending my leg, the other leg sliding, and in that case, I can then start to go backwards. But you can see I pretty much could do it without him, okay? Much easier with him, but just so we don't have any problems and we don't surprise him and throw him back, and maybe we don't do a lot of physical activity every day, so we're not as strong as that would require for both of us to be held up. So we wanna make sure that we're trying to stay on our own weight, and my hips are also gonna be tucking slightly underneath to protect the lower back, and as well as the head, we can keep it kind of looking at our partner, or we could gently release it once we're already there. But that's a preference for you. So let's try this together step by step. We're gonna go from the sways together?
Yeah, so we'll go from here.
Okay.
Sway, sway. I'm on my right foot, she's on her left foot. I place it over my back. As I shift my weight to my left foot, what I didn't mention before, because we're doing it slow, is I might even start to slide my left foot out a little bit farther, so I have a wider stance and I have more support than me just being so narrow here and just kind of rotating. So I might slide my left foot, which also helps with the shifting of her weight onto her right foot, and I can already start to soften my left knee. We then rotate as both my hands are on her back, and then I soften my knees if we're going to go lower. Sorry, if we do this a bit slower, my fault. We shift it over here. We just rotate. So we're still both pretty tall at this point right here. She can now check her position that she's gonna bend her right knee, her left foot's pointed out to the side, and then as I bend my knee, she bends her knee, and then we get to go lower here. You can see I'm still pretty upright. It's not a comfortable position for her to stay in, sorry. So I rotated myself and I lower myself. I'm not going to send my body over hers. This would be a very poor way to do it. I put myself down on top of her, and you can
probably
see
the worst way.
You can see the picture. It hurts both of our backs, and it looks terrible. I, as a leader, need to be the anchor, right? So I can lower myself, but I need to anchor myself here. Now, if she wants to go lower, she can bend her knee lower, or she can let go of herself more.
I wouldn't let go.
No. I mean like loosen it. Like right now, if she's
very tight.
If she's all the way around my back with this arm, she can't go anywhere. This is how much space we have. If she lowers her right arm now more towards my neck, towards my shoulder, she has more space to go down.
I'm giving myself more space.
She has a lot more control with this dip really than I do. She's supporting a lot of her own weight. She controls how much space is between our chest. I'm just this anchor that rotates and then lowers myself to hold her, but trying to maintain my posture so I have a strong position for her.
So let's talk about options. I already mentioned the one with your neck releasing. So you have an option when we go down there to stay with him, which is totally great. If it's comfortable, you could slowly release it back, and then when you're coming up, I would say the most comfortable thing is to just have the head the last thing to come up instead of trying to like whip it up when your gravity is kind of pulling you down. So that's one option to make it like a style a little bit different.
Also with the head actually too, if this is new for you too, and maybe if she's a little wild, you can put your hand on the head to kind of hold her and give her more support too. Let's say it's your first time kind of going into it, or you're leading the dip and she doesn't even know it's kind of happening. I can support her more with my hand in the back of the head too, so she doesn't get any whiplash or kind of hurt herself. Sorry,
good.
Go ahead.
No, it's good. Love it. So arms options, the most comfortable, easiest is we just leave it right here. Other option is I can put the left arm out like this. I can also swoosh it, which goes down, and then when we come up, it's naturally gonna follow. So if we try that without the dip, what I'm doing is just extending it out for option one, keep it. Option 2, extend it out. Option 3, I'm bringing it down as I go into the dip, and then as my body comes up, I'm bringing it up and back to him. So those are some styling options. Feel free to try them out. Make sure slow and steady is definitely better in the beginning for every part of this dip for sure. So one more option for the feet, instead of just sliding it on the floor, if you're really dying to lift it, the best way to do it in the beginning is to just glue it to like a figure 4 position on your leg here. So this foot here is gonna come up, make a figure 4. To make it pretty, make sure that the foot is pointed regardless if it's here or up here, but also make sure that it's not like anything funky like this. I wanna make sure this foot is kind of glued to that inner leg there.
This is like the ankle to the knee?
Ankle to the knee, exactly. And let's demonstrate how that will work, okay? So once I'm set up, my foot is still gonna be here. I wouldn't recommend going here because now your balance is compromised and it might be difficult depending on your level. So keep the foot on the floor. Once we go down, I then can pick it up because his weight is already helping me. And when he comes up, I can simply just bring the foot down. I can point it out. If you have a lot of balance, you can keep it up and then put it down when you kind of continue into the sways from there or whatever you're doing. But that's another option for you.
Let's exit the dip now, right? We got in successfully, now we need to get out successfully and comfortably. Nobody's getting hurt, right? So we get her into the dip, no matter how low we went. I'm going to straighten my legs up. I'm going to bring her up first, right? So I'm going to go back one more time. So we're here, I'm going to straighten my legs and bring her up towards me. Then I'm going to rotate. I did everything in the reverse order, right? Up and then rotate. I put her back on this foot and we can go back to swaying again. And because our dance starts with sways, we can go back into our dance. I could slide this hand down. She slides it down back to me again. If we do that transition one more time, we'll go into the dip the entire way. Place the hand, soften, rotate, lower, come up again, rotate, back into the sways again.
Okay, so ladies, what we can do to help him there is actually use our core a little bit and help kind of bring ourselves up. However, that's not a requirement. It's just something that makes it a little easier. It's more comfortable for me if I just engage my core a little bit. So once we get that, we're gonna allow him to lead at whatever pace he does. Hopefully it's slower in the beginning for sure. So he's bringing us up and then he's gonna rotate us and he's gonna put us on our left foot. So because our weight has been on our right foot, naturally when we come up, it's gonna shift to the left and then we'll probably do a sway or two before we go into something else. But Mainly it's just bringing ourselves back up to on your foot.
That's a good point actually too. So if you looked at us, if we watched us do it before, you can see we did it really, really, really slowly. Slower is way better than faster at this point here. So you can see that if we go into the dip and we do it at speed, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, lower, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 1. The slower you do it, the better it's going to be. I do not want to surprise her, drop her down, bring her back up again, especially in a slow dance, which would be really out of place. But she could also hurt her neck, and being comfortable is the most important thing as we dance together here.
So let's put this kind of on how we would connect this to the combo. So what he did right there was really nice. He just did it right away from the cradle. So I think we'll do that because I think it's the easiest.
Go right into it.
So let's kind of walk through that together again if you didn't catch it. So we're going to do a normal cradle, straight, no rotation. And then as I sway this way, he puts the hand. From here, we could kind of break timing. We don't have to keep the timing anymore. From here, he's giving me however much time he wants, and then however much time he wants. And let's do 4 sways just to kind of keep it consistent. Out of it, and while you're doing those 4 sways, you can go back to dance position. You could stay here for a minute if you wanted to, that's fine. And then you can kind of connect it to the whole little routine.
Yes.
So what we could do now to spice up our little routine that we have, you could do that any moment for sure. But you could do the basic cradle one time, you could do your underarm turn one time, you can do the rotating basic one time, and then to add to that, just do 1 basic to the dip at the end, and then kind of call that little routine. So we can try that with you to some music. Maybe let's try the dip 1 more time with counts before we go right into music, just from that transition.
Okay, I'll do it from this side actually, sorry, so they can see.
Okay, so let's try it together 1 more time, the dip from this transition, and then we'll try the combination. We'll just put the music on right away and we'll leave it on for a bit so you can kind of practice and have fun. Okay, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's dipping. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We sway. 2, 3, 4, and back to our beginning we go. And again, you can take longer than that. Doesn't really matter. Just be safe and hopefully you're successful.
Cool.
Cool.
So we'll do those 4 sways at the beginning of the routine as before, so that you do those 4 sways after the dip, and the routine is the same. Again, you don't have to do anything in the routine. You can put these together any way you want, during any number of steps you want, however you want. We'll just have 1 example for you.
Okay, we're gonna put some music on and we're gonna try that. We'll do it the same, just like we did the first 2 times, exactly like that, and then we'll probably leave the music on and switch it up a little bit. Feel free to do whatever you need to here, okay? Cool. I'll count us in. 5, 6, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this class. We're gonna close it up now, but feel free to kind of go back as many times as you need to, or repeat it with the music. Anything you need. Again, we are gonna leave a link in the description with all the music that you can dance to this. So when this class is over, you don't have to be done right away. You can go dance to the music to yourselves, have fun, enjoy it. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you like this style of class, we have a lot of tutorials up, kind of broken down, just kind of 1 step or little combos, things like that, some techniques. So go check out our channel. We also have a website, which is even a little more advanced and a little more in-depth. with a Ballroom Feed Pro section, which we'll also leave. But if you like this style where we're kind of teaching you just like we would a normal class, let us know and we can do more things like this and kind of try out some different dances for you guys. So let us know, give us a thumbs up, comment down below if you had any questions or if what you want to see next, we'll get back to you as soon as possible.
This dance style was Foxy. So if you liked this pattern and this kind of music to dance to, Foxy was the dance. And again, we'll leave the link down below to our Foxy syllabus of other patterns you can learn and expand on the dance if you want.
All right, guys, I hope you had a lovely Valentine's Day or just a regular date if you are doing this on whatever day you're doing it. And we'll see you again very soon. Bye.